I think we're ready.
Okay, then.
We're ready.
Good.
Do your intro, honey.
Let me set that up. Is that the daytime or the nighttime?
This is the daytime.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, daytime.
If you can't see it, you should look at the video. It's the most beautiful little pyramid with the earth in it or something.
It's so organized.
Yeah.
Really, really beautiful.
Well, welcome to another episode of Driving to the Res.
With your favorite hosts,
Inelia.
and Larry.
So, what do you want to talk about this week?
Oh, I thought you might want to do a little intro or something. You'd like to start the conversation with something interesting.
Yeah, we did. Feeding the cats. Teenagers here.
Okay. So today we're going to be talking about something which is, to me, quite fascinating. And it is karma and its relation to manifestation. As you know, we've done a lot of classes, courses, talks, podcasts, and all the things about manifestation. And why are we so focused on it? Because the reason is because manifestation, understanding how we manifest the world and the universe and everything moment to moment, is a key component of empowerment. It's a key component of embodying and reflecting in reality the new paradigm. That's why we spend so much time on it, so much time giving out data and information and practices and exercises and everything else. That's why. Yeah.
Right. Because I think there's the tendency, as you always, to think of manifestation as just, as in a sense, learning how to really wish good for what it is I want.
Right, yeah.
And the only things that you manifest are those things that you really wished about for a good amount of time.
Yeah. And
then they came.
Yeah.
That's how manifestation works. But
that's why we're being taught in the mass media manifestation works like that, right?
Oh.
But it's not like that. It's every single moment of your life you're manifesting, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
It's different.
And so all of the things, including the things that you're wishing for, that you're hoping will come to be true or want or whatever, all of the other things are already the things you're manifesting.
Exactly. And that gives you an enormous amount of power, which is realizing that bit.
Yeah.
And most of our exercises and teachings are about becoming conscious of that fact and how to use that to your advantage.
It's kind of like the answer to the question, if I'm always manifesting, how come I keep getting the things that I don't want?
Exactly, yeah.
Well, that's part of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
So here's one of the reasons.
One of the reasons.
Karma.
Yeah. So let me read a little bit of this newsletter. In February 2023, we gave a class that teaches how to escape the cycle of birth and death. Now, I have shared a lot of information about reincarnation throughout the years, and a big part of it is karma. How karma affects birth is covered in that class. In this article, I want to give you a key component of how karma affects your manifestation of reality on a day-to-day basis. A reminder that manifestation, when we speak of it in the mass media, means getting something that we want in life through a mental focus and other conscious process. However, when we lift the hood on the manifestation truck, we find that it, instead, is something we do constantly, mostly unconsciously, and mostly through programming of our expectations of what reality is. First, let's look at some commonly known definitions of karma.
Okay.
From the internet.
Yeah, I always thought karma was like payback for doing good stuff.
Yeah.
I've also heard that, it's payback for doing bad stuff.
Bad stuff. Like the sayings like karma's a bitch.
Karma's a bitch.
Stuff. Yeah.
Karma will get him, don't you worry.
Yeah. Just relax. It's
Just
fine.
relax.
Karma's
Karma will catch up.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the other one. As you started doing your spiritual work, you started to get instant karma.
Oh, instant karma was so fun.
Karma.
That one was fun, yeah. Okay, from the internet, karma. The totality of a person's actions and conduct during successive incarnations regarded as a causally influencing his or her destiny. Causally, sorry. Not casually. Causally influencing his or her destiny. The next one is the law or principle through which such influence is believed to operate. And thirdly, fate or destiny resulting from one's previous actions. So what goes around comes around, basically.
Right, and if you're listening to this on the podcast, clearly you can get a copy of the text. This is a newsletter that comes every week.
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you don't know how, check the notes.
Mm-hmm. Another source. That would be my source.
Another source of definitions of karma?
Karma,
okay.
Yes. The force generated by a person's actions held in Hinduism and Buddhism. Oh, sorry, this is a different one, not mine.
Oh, okay.
I got confused. The force generated
Here, let me slide it up for you, honey.
Thank you. Now I can see the rest of it. The force generated by a person's actions held in Hinduism and Buddhism to perpetuate transmigration of its ethical consequences to determine the nature of person's next existence.
Oh yeah, this part of karma, instead of the one that's like this life, it's like this is the one that gets you the next life.
Exactly. And what you're experiencing today is all because of the stuff you did in your previous lifetime.
Oh, that's right. Now it's not your now fault. It's your last life fault.
Yes.
You really got to be careful of what you did your last life.
Yeah. So basically this one is super disempowering because it takes you out of the present time. Right. It makes you think that you can only influence your next lifetime, but in this one you're screwed. So there's not much you can do about it. Right? So you become very passive.
Except for try to be very
good for the next
life. Or if you end up doing bad stuff, it's like, forget it. I already screwed up the next one. I might as well go for it, or who knows what.
Exactly.
I guess. Yeah.
Okay, here goes. My definition.
Okay, what's yours?
Karma. A cycle of actions and results of a life from deep and unshakable held desires or beliefs of experience. Ding.
Try reading that again.
A cycle of actions and results of a life from deep and unshakable held desires or beliefs of experience.
That seems more accurate in my mind.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways, yeah. It's a cycle, right? A cycle of actions or a cycle of results, right? Actions and results.
Yeah.
From a life of deeply held beliefs and desires.
Yes.
So I have this strong belief or this strong desire of this.
Yeah.
And so that's the cycle. The cycle is because of those
desires
or beliefs.
Yeah.
And it's all about experience anyway. So.
Yep. This.
Either way, the first few definitions kind of put you at the victim state.
Yeah, very passive. You can't do anything about it.
Right, and you're to suffer the consequence.
Yeah,
right.
Of your previous actions. Yeah.
And your definition is more empowering in the sense that it's a deeply held belief that you have that's putting you in a cycle of experience.
Yeah, or a desire.
Okay, or a desire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
During one of our podcasts, Larry, Ilia, Delina, and I discussed what karma is. And I explained to them what I had seen as karma when I was a small child. That scene has evolved and it developed since then to a more accurate and mature form. To summarize, I told them the story of when I was a little girl and thinking about karma. I was watching a vinyl playing on a record player. Do we have to explain what vinyls and record players are?
I guess in the sense that you could look it up. I would suggest look up a microscope view of a vinyl record.
Okay.
So you can see the needle in the groove on the record player. Mm-hmm. If you take a look at that picture, then you understand what we're talking about. And if you don't even know what a vinyl record is, you can figure out how to figure it out.
I had just been told how the mechanics worked on that machine, how the vinyl had little grooves and how the needle went up and down and side to side on those grooves. It translated those movements into sound. The conversation about karma was happening in the background and someone said the words to the effect that the person they were talking about was stuck in a karmic cycle. Repeat the same thing over and over again like a broken record. I looked at the needle and the vinyl and lifted it. I remember saying out loud, why doesn't she just lift herself out of it? I was then told that the person didn't know how they were in a cycle in the first place, so I kept repeating the same experience over and over. I made a mental note to think of ways to help people understand how to move out of the cycles they were trapped in. Now, we're here today, and I'm weaving this information in a way that will make that plan come true. 1. Karma is a cycle. 2. The person is unaware that they are in a karma cycle and also unaware that they can simply lift themselves out of it. Therefore, they are powerless and unable to respond to their situation in a high-frequency way or change it. They're not responsible for it. 3. Stop me anytime you like.
I was going to, but then I remembered people said they didn't like me to interrupt you in the list part. So I was going to wait till you get done.
Oh, okay. Okay, 3. The person thinks that they're not responsible now for the low-frequency life they're manifesting, and actually, they are the victim of it and have no responsibility for manifesting it. And, for as long as they don't realize they're stuck in a cycle, this is actually true. 4. The person finally realizes that they're stuck in a karma cycle created by negative programs or belief systems, including thinking that their current life circumstances dictate their current reality, and makes the decision to try something different, something new. 5. The person lifts themselves out of the karma cycle and look around for a different experience, one that isn't dictated by beliefs that they cannot change their lot. 6. They can then see well enough to manifest new experiences. 7. At this point, the person can choose to keep their new experiences or go back to their old cycle and manifest more of the same thing that they're familiar with and used to. They will often, if not to do the second, blame it on external factors. Nothing really changes. This is how life is. Stuff like that.
Yes.
That's the list.
It's a good list. The one thing that needs more, the one thing that could be used as a number 7 is the use of the word lift. Lift yourself out of that cycle. So the first thing my body said when you say that is lift. Like, how do you lift yourself out of a thing? So I understand what you mean by it. At a soul level, at a body level, my body says, that's not a lifting thing. That's not heavy or light. Doesn't go up or down. It's like lift. What do you mean lift? Lift myself out of a cycle. But I think what I understand you to mean is become aware that this cycle is one that you have placed yourself in for a reason of experience, probably because you have a very strong belief or desire to have a certain experience. So when you say lift yourself out of it, you really are saying is examine this from that angle. Yeah. So look at it from this angle. That this is a cycle of experience that you've held yourself in to have an experience that you really wanted. And if you recognize it for that, you can change your mind. Or at least be aware that this is the experience you're after and this cycle is what you're using to keep you in it. So enjoy it. But don't be stuck in it.
Right. So many
like
individuals, many individuals say, well, how do I do that? Right? It's like, I'm stuck in it. How will I know what I don't know?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And we will be talking a little bit about that on the next podcast. But for this podcast, I wanted to talk about the fact that there are things that you can actually do, even by yourself. But it's better to have other people or friends who are high frequency, who you can discuss these things with, and they can have different viewpoints for you to examine. And we have the Telegram group, we have the Subscribe Star group, we have the Walk With Me Now group, we have a lot of groups of people who are actually doing these things, okay? And you can bounce ideas with. Now, if you're really, really stuck on the lone wolfie, then there is something that you can look at. When you are in a kind of thing that you think, like, the words that come through to show you're stuck in a cycle are words such as everybody and everything, every time.
It always.
Always is like absolutes, okay? That is like the whole planet. And I'm not talking about absolute sense in a situation where, that plane, if it crashes, if it explodes in the air, it's going to fall and everybody's going to be dead. That's an absolute, right? An airplane full of people explodes in the air, falls down to the ground. Absolutely everybody's going to die. I'm not talking about the situational things. I'm talking about the whole planet here. So understand that. Well, that's what it means, absolute. So if you say all men are, I don't know, add your...
Brilliant.
All men are brilliant.
No, not that one.
Do you think that's true?
Magnificent?
Do you think all men are magnificent?
In their own way, sure.
Okay. So all women are...
beautiful and smell nice.
Okay, we just saw the male interpretation, and actually quite healthy one too. So, when we're talking about being stuck in a cycle that you don't like, or thinking that the entire world, it's like I've seen people saying, I work in industry and every single boss is a bully,
petty
sexual
tyrants,
predator,
sexual predators, harassment, stupid.
Mm-hmm.
How do they ever get that job?
Mm-hmm. So I work for 10 companies every single time. I come across these people and I just can't stand it, and that's why I keep moving companies, but it's always the same. So now it's an absolute. Every single company on the planet has these individuals as bosses. That's an absolute.
So the common denominator in this is you, actually.
Yes. It's
not the 10 different bosses.
Right. And then that's when all the subconscious belief systems and cycle kind of little trap things and wedges and whatever's come into play from the very beginning. From what company did you go out of your way to apply for a job? And then during your interviews, what kind of feedback you were having, and all of the things.
So from the karma perspective, right, is last lifetime you were that horrible boss.
Yes.
And so you have to make up for it by suffering this torture for this life.
Exactly. From this empowerment karma definition, yes. Yeah. From the empowered karma definition, we look at and see, okay, I'm using an absolute here. All the bosses in the world are like this. Okay. Do
I want an experience of subjugation? Is that what I came on the planet to have? Right. Let me think. I'm listening to this podcast. No, actually, that's not what I came here to experience. Right. I don't know where I got sidetracked with that idea. Mm-hmm. I see that's an idea that I held.
Yes.
No, I think I'm going to examine that and maybe drop it. Mm-hmm. I think I should probably have a nice experience. Maybe I'll just be a nice boss. I'll start my own company. Or I'll get a job where the experience of having a boss is more like a partnership where we work together to create a great product for whomever. Mm-hmm. Right?
Or even...
They worry about these things, I worry about these things, and together we make it happen.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It's like, it's a different experience.
Right. Be open to at least that, having that, instead of resigned to your fate.
Yeah. So and you could go down the path of psychoanalysis to try and figure it out and everything else, but actually the process that I use is the fear processing exercise, or now the stress relief exercise.
Yeah. And you can stresses you out, go to that exercise.
Exactly. So you just use those exercises. You can change the words to like the belief system bundle. All bosses are tyrants. Where is it in my field? And then do the whole exercise from that perspective.
Funniest thing. I'm going to tell you a secret.
Okay.
You ready for the secret?
I am.
Once you do this, your boss is now released from that role, and you might find yourself shocked.
Yes.
That they go, wow, finally, someone who sees me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That actually is quite common, that once a person releases some sort of belief system or bundle or reaction bundle from their field, from their body, that the other people around them change. So they seem to change. It's really one of those amazing things.
My experience with that, they say, I thought you had a chip on your shoulder and you were like waiting for somebody to knock it off. And, I love knocking off chips. But when I see now, you don't really have a chip. I don't know what I was thinking. I don't even know why I thought that about you.
Yeah.
Well, you're actually pretty cool. I like you.
Yeah. So it could change from the present situation, right? The people that's in your life. Or it could be like suddenly your boss retires and a new boss comes in, or it could even be that you get an offer from a company. When you go there, the boss is absolutely amazing.
Or the boss moves on and you turn into the boss.
That too.
You get promotions. Yeah, all kinds of things.
All kind of things happen. Yes. So that is that example, I suppose. But I would caution against psychoanalysis. I haven't seen it work in any form, and it's actually adds to the victim-aggressor energy most often.
Well, it's probably worthwhile to describe what you mean by psychoanalysis.
Jungian psychology, Freudian psychology, health doubts.
Let's just say, for example, I got a boss. I hate that boss. It's like the 10th time I've had a boss, and they always harass me.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sit down in the chair of Jungian analysis. What are they going to do?
Yeah. They will probably start looking at seeing that, and they will probably conclude that it was your father figure or your mother figure coming through your boss, whatever. So basically, it's a sense add to the karmic cycle, almost a victim-aggressor stuff.
Okay.
That's been my experience of it. Now, there are some Jungian psychologists out there and some health stats psychologists out there who are actually my students. And they've been able to marry the two methodologies really, really well. And those are very effective. And I'm not talking about, like, say, if you need a sounding board for talking about your life and you can't really go to a friend or a relative or whatever's, and you go to a counselor. I'm not saying don't do that. That's actually really helpful. What I'm saying is when you get yourself to try and realize or see or perceive or get out of really kind of stuck cycles, I have found that those are not very useful because they go back and give you reasons. And usually those reasons will validate your actions today. And they don't take you out of the cycle.
They just sort of engage you in it for longer.
A long, long time.
Right.
And then you go, I see, yeah. Oh, that's the reason why I'm like this. No, I can change that.
Got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Carrying on.
Did you want to talk about any other of those points?
Let's see. Karma's a cycle. We got that one covered. Mm-hmm. Person's unaware in a cycle. Yeah, we got that one where they become aware. Thinks they're not responsible, but they are. Realizes they are stuck in that they created that. They lift themselves out by essentially becoming aware of that and accepting that they're active in this role.
Yeah, and usually all it takes is to do something different.
Yeah, and all it takes mostly is respond instead of react, right?
That's
basically.
It. Yeah, respond rather than
they
react.
see well enough to manifest a new experience of what they might consider to be the same circumstances, but they manifest a new experience of those circumstances.
Yeah.
And that allows everyone else who's orchestrating that experience with them to play a different role too.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And then they can decide to keep it or go back to the old one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. No, I don't have no questions about that. I think you covered good.
Okay. The last bit then. Karma is driven by the desire to be held in an experience, which can often mean that when the person is fully satiated with that experience and looks around for a different experience to have, they may experience a feeling of still being trapped in the old one. So, basically, once the person is fully satiated with the experience, they can move on. But if they're not quite fully satisfied, they're not felt that they got the full experience out of it, I'm not saying consciously, like I want more punishment type of energy. Talking about at a higher level experience of higher self, more expanded awareness self level of did I get the full experience yet or not? From experience's sake, not from punishment or whatever's, right?
Right.
So, okay. But it also means that they will not even look around if they're not fully done with it. So when a person is not fully done with an experience at a higher self level, they're not going to even question why they're having that experience. And they wouldn't be listening to this podcast. Or even if they're listening, they're making 1,000 excuses of why it doesn't apply to them, that they can't do that, or that's not their situation, right? So basically, it's like, they're not fully done, then they won't realize that it's a cycle.
Which is part of why you need the tribe of...
No, by the time you find a tribe, you're already done with the cycle. So basically, the other side of it...
That's kind of the...
The other side of it is, you're listening to this podcast
so that probably means you're done with it.
You're done with those negative cycles.
Got it. That makes sense.
Period.
So if you try and share this with someone that you can see this in that, and they're like... No, that's not me. Well, they're not done with it.
Exactly.
Got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's funny, though.
Yeah.
It's like, because oftentimes you see yourself trying to help someone. Come on, let me help you. And they're like, don't help me. I don't want no help.
Yeah.
It's like, here, let me help you some more. Like, no.
The knowledge that our manifestations are driven by a desire for experiences and that we can get stuck in a cycle of one or more of those desires, ours or other people's desires, allows us to become aware that what is driving our manifested experiences right now, right? Yeah. That is what is driving our experiences, a manifestation of experiences right now. Okay? The desires for experience. And therefore, by stepping out of those cycles, removing the programs and fears, we can then manifest a different desire and a different experience.
So what about, well, I mean, clearly the general experience of karma that you've been describing is one where you're stuck in this torturous existence of some form or other, right?
Yeah.
And you want to step out of that torturous cycle of suffering. Mm-hmm. And you want to manifest a new experience of a new paradigm, maybe,
Yeah.
But what if you don't have that? What if you're in a cycle of not terrible experiences? Mm. Is it still a karma thing?
Well, desire, yes. If we take my definition of karma and you see that the experiences you're having is from programs or desires, then if you're having a fabulous cycle, I mean, every single boss you've ever had was absolutely amazing.
Yeah, because my last life, I was really good.
No, it's because you're having that desire of having amazing bosses.
Wait a minute.
What?
Can't blame the bad stuff on it and not let the good stuff be part of it. That's part of the whole deal. How do we get out of the cycle of karma, even if we're the benefits on the beneficial side?
Why would you want to? It's when you have a choice, right? That's when you have a choice. All I'm giving you the information for you to make a choice from a perspective of full knowledge.
I know.
You see the cycles that are positive and you want to keep them. Keep them. Right? So, you see the cycles that are negative and you want to get out of them, you can get out of them. But once you realize that the cycles that are positive come from your experience of what you want to experience and also your belief systems, then you're empowered to continue having those cycles for as long as you want.
Right. So here's the natural thing based on what I've experienced most people. Mm-hmm. is when they learn something like karma is a cycle that they've voluntarily put in place, mm-hmm. they want to get rid of it. And all karmic ties and all karmic everything's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even though in a large part of their life, that's probably helping them stay in a cycle of desire of wonderful experiences that they want to keep. Mm-hmm. But they want to drop all of those things because somehow the idea that it's a thing that's voluntary makes it something to get rid of. Do you know what I'm saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So it's
I've seen that. I've seen that too.
It's like, well, I'm going to drop all karmas: good, bad, ugly, nice,
I've seen that
beautiful,
with programs
terrible.
as well.
Yeah.
Okay, or limitations.
I get all
everything.
Of them. All of them. But that's clearly not what you're saying.
No.
But it's easy to get carried away with this and think that all programs are bad, all karma beliefs, desires for experience are bad.
All limitations
are bad. We should have none, and et cetera, et cetera. But that's not what you're saying.
No, that's not what I'm saying. No.
What you're saying is be consciously choosing these things or be consciously aware that these are the way things work.
Yeah, so you can be conscious in choosing them.
You can be conscious in choosing because why? Why do we want to be conscious in using them? Why is it necessary?
The split right now.
Because of the split right now, yeah.
When we passively are passengers of programs, cycles, and other people's choices, we're in a power over other situation and very infantile situation, basically. And by becoming aware, conscious, and making conscious decisions about the cycles or programs or limitations that we keep, we're basically saying we grew up. We're now adults, right? As an adult, it's a very different experience. And the new paradigm, the light side of the new paradigm, the new paradigm, which is pure light, needs adults.
So we're not the victim of great experiences or the victim of not great experiences. We're not
or programs
experiencing this because somebody else or some other something. We're doing and experiencing what we are because of us.
Yeah. Yeah. But we do it consciously.
Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so I think that gave a lot of food for thought, honestly. Mm-hmm. And I know there'll be a tendency to swing hard one way or the other way in this experience of it. And that's great to go experience get rid of it all or well, what about the ones that I like? And then pretty soon you get into a little tuffle. So probably what we should do is talk to Inelia and Adelina for a little while.
Yeah,
see what comes up in their world about this. If they want to keep their karma, or if they're going to like throw it out the door, or what's going on with this karma thing.
Yeah. The karma from the perspective of desired experiences.
Well, we'll see what definition they're using.
Oh,
There's
okay.
5. All right. Can't wait to hear.
All right.
See you in, I guess, a minute.
Yeah, when the second part of this podcast. If you don't know how to get the second
part.
Oh,
yeah, the second part. If you're just listening to the first part, you don't even know what we're talking about.
Know.
Have you ever heard of Subscribe Star, honey?
Yes.
Who told you about it?
You.
That's right. And what happens at Subscribe Star?
We can subscribe and listen to the second part of this episode.
Why?
And all the other episodes.
What else can you get at Subscribe Star?
You can get the weekly homework that I send out to our higher peer. Yeah.
So you get also, weekly homework. What is the weekly homework all about?
It's exercises you can do to keep yourself, exercised in empowerment.
Exercises in empowerment.
Yes.
And awareness. Yeah. Expansion of awareness, which is ascension. Okay. So you got weekly exercises. You have the access to the second hour. In the second hour, we talk to, in this case, we're going to talk to Inelia and Adelina.
Yes.
For about an hour. Yes. They're going to ask us questions.
And expand the
conversation
topic.
we just had about this newsletter.
It's really deep.
Right.
And then
also once a month.
A class.
Hour or two worth of class, including questions and answers about topics.
It's an hour lecture plus a question and answer section.
Right. Our last class was about reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
And there were some pretty interesting nuggets.
Well, it wasn't. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I mean, what I remember, even though I was giving the class with you, coming to some realizations in the class that I hadn't put the pieces together in.
Do you remember any of those?
Yeah, one of them specifically was in oftentimes there will be the tendency to say something like, I am never coming back here again.
Yes.
Even though you've come back here like 100 times or 1,000 or a lot. I mean, everyone's had many lives. You're the exception in this.
There's not lots of other people who's here on Earth for the first time.
Yeah.
Not in physicality in the first time, but definitely on Earth for the first time. Yeah.
So most of the people that I in contact with have had lots of lives.
They have.
And
lots of lives.
Yeah. They've been around the block, Earth. And they'll almost universally say, I ain't never coming back here again.
Lots of them, yes.
I've heard that so many times.
Just tell me how to.
Just tell me how to get out of this cycle because I ain't never coming here again. I don't want to be trapped doing this. Trapped is I'm trapped and I'm in a cycle I can't get out of.
Prison planet.
There's a soul trapped. There's a moon over there. And you go on the moon and you're screwed. Yeah. So what do you think they're going to do? Yeah. They're going to go right for that moon. It's like, oh shit, not again. So one of the realizations was, much like this karma, we were stuck in a trap of our own making to continue to bring us back to what is a light, dark, real.
Yes.
Because without some form of self-trickery, we would be having a hard time coming back.
Yes.
And usually the trickery would involve duty or a job not done or some
Don't leave your brothers and sisters behind.
Don't abandon it. Yeah. Some pull to pull you back into
the
dark paradigm. Because you're naturally a light being and bringing yourself into this place.
It's not natural.
It's not natural for you. So, once you become aware of it, right? Aware of what's going on, you understand this was something you did to yourself. Mm-hmm. Now that you are aware of it and doing it to yourself and bringing yourself into a light, dark, real, you are aware that maybe you will or maybe you won't. It's still you deciding.
Yeah, but consciously, not
but
through programming.
You'll be the one consciously deciding at, your death, which nobody dies, by the way.
Right.
I know it looks that way, but that's you, doesn't die. Right. Never did, never will, never has, is not going to.
Right.
It tricked itself a little bit, but it's not going to die. So the you that heard this is the same you that will remember this.
Yes.
When you do, not die. Mm-hmm. And you can choose to come back to a light paradigm
So that was your insight.
And you wouldn't trick yourself to come into a light dark one, because you're the you that you are right now. You already know better.
Yeah.
Just by hearing that.
And we've accomplished the split, so you can go straight to the light part of the split.
Which is where you want to go back.
That's always we wanted to go back.
You always wanted to.
That's home.
You didn't need to trick yourself. So exposure to the data is all it takes.
Yes.
Once you got the data, you can't trick yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you can forget, I guess. Good luck with that. But the you that you are is the same you.
Mm-hmm.
Those were some of the things that come through. So if you haven't gotten that class, you could go get a Subscribe Star now for the class version. That's going to give you all of the classes that we've done. Plus,
not all of them, but
all the classes that are in the Subscribe Star since we started.
Yeah, since we started Subscribe Star, all the classes we've done since then are there.
Right.
For sure. And all the second hours or second parts of the podcast since we started Subscribe Star are there.
So that's quite a lot.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. And all the ones that come, you will get a course, right? And you'll also become a part of it's kind of a Star Tribe.
The Star Tribe, yeah.
They have a Telegram group, and there's a comment section on the Telegram group.
They do a study of the classes.
Groups. They do all kinds of stuff.
Yes, lots of fun stuff. Thanks to Ashley's. Ashley's well.
Ashley's the Star Tribe.
Yes.
Yeah. So I think we told you enough about that. If you don't know what it is now, you know. Mm-hmm. Go to the Subscribe Star and look for Inelia Benz.
Yeah.
And then
get a second hour.
Get a subscription. Get the second hour.
Yeah.
And we'll see you in a minute.
Okay. See you then.
Bye.
Bye.
Is it a minute yet?
What?
Is it a minute?
No.
What an amazing episode about the concept of karma. Interesting definition that I haven't heard before. So make sure you join us for the second hour where we explore the definition from our point of view, how we understood it or misunderstood it. And we also get into some interesting stories and explorations, like what happened with Hitler and his karma. Is there heaven and hell? What is the purpose of punishment? And are there beings with no karma?
Well, besides beings with no karma, we discovered there is instant karma and optional karma, looks like. And then we had an exploration of karma and importances. Do you remember our class, choosing our importances? So you'll see the connection. And we also explored the path to enlightenment.
So join us for the second hour. It's on subscribestar.com. Search for Inelia Benz, or you can find us on Rockfin, which is ROKFIN.com.
Yes. See you there.
Bye.